Welcome to 70s Unheard, where we peel back the album cover to reveal the true stories behind the legends and the lesser-known 70s rock gods. I'm Jeff Gerkins, and today I'm happy to be joined by a gentleman who was helpful to me as I began this show. Cain Blanchard, the studio production coordinator here at Radio KCM. He serves as production liaison to the guys that do the shows, and he offers technical support to all of us here. Much appreciated. A musician with his own band, Cain is an active member of the local DIY music community, and has been for over 30 years, involved in independent film and video projects. Welcome, Cain. I'm glad you're here joining me.
Hey, Jeff. Thanks for having me.
It's really fun. And listening to your playlist, I think it's going to be interesting and challenging for the listener. But I grew up a handful of miles from Fort Knox, the Army base. When I was in high school, a local station there catered to the young military population on base, playing what I would thought was free-form FM radio. And it's that when I listened to your playlist, I heard those songs you would never hear on album rock or pop radio. This playlist reminds me of that radio station, and I love it. So can you tell me what went into your choices for the day?
It was a little kind of free form, kind of off the top of my head. The hardest thing was whittling it down to something that would fit in an hour. So they came, once I started thinking about it, they came pretty quick and easy.
I love it. And so for you, you're younger. I mean, you're probably, I'm not going to guess your age, but 70s wasn't your high school years. So who was an influence on you? Where did you hear music from this era and become aware of it?
All over the place. I was, I was born in the 70s,
right.
But I missed out on a lot of that freeform FM days.
Yeah.
That was a little before my time. So I probably came to this stuff from a little bit of a different perspective than you did. So it was so I was kind of backing into this stuff, kind of looking back from through the lens of later music, in the 90s, late 90s, 2000s. A lot of stuff, early internet, once Napster and stuff like that, I'm old enough to have grown up without that, and you had to, and so finding stuff, it was a search,
That's right.
You had to, and there were names that I kept in my back pocket for years, until you would get someplace that would actually be able to stock this stuff, where stuff was, you'd have to track down rare imports or head to the big city,
Exactly.
So it was work.
I still do that. I still have a list of people I want to find. Even if I have it on Spotify or whatever, I still want to have the physical copy. All right, Cain's Choices today. Cain's Choices challenge the listener to consider different sounds. He truly based his choices on the conceit of the show, Unheard, 70s Unheard. So I challenge you to listen, as there's some great stuff here. But if you turned in today expecting to hear James Taylor, prepare to be surprised and challenged. Cain, your first choice today is one that has surprisingly, as we mentioned, been chosen by multiple guests. Why Sniffing the Tears?
It's a great song.
I love it. I do love it. We'll just jump in. So this one is from the 1978 album, Fickle Heart, one that multiple guests have chosen. This is Sniffing the Tears and Driver's Seat.
is wide, and you know it isn't Christ. The devil child's mind, flash the dagger like teeth and wine. Mine, mine, mine. Mine, mine, mine. Mine, mine, mine. Mine, mine, mine. Faster than just meeting, with more goblins, demons, and gremlins. Never only decide. A death and life seance with ghostly powers all the time. What is it that makes it so, so alive? I ask you, the devil's infinity children. Mine, mine, mine. Mine, mine, mine. Mine, mine, mine. Mine, mine, mine. Demonic wire is the devil's cross. Lucifer inside right. Mine, mine from the true, mine, mine. Demon eyes say a lie. Devil stuff their feet in rhyme. I do and never tried. Mine, mine, mine. 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 Mine, mine, mine.
From the 1977 album, I Have Always Been Here Before. That was American musician, celebrated as a founding member and founding father of psychedelic rock, Rocky Erickson, and Mine, Mine, Mind. And that was the 1976 single release, Cain, the one you preferred.
Yes.
So why'd you choose that version, and why Rocky Erickson?
Well, you're going to keep asking me this, and, and I'm going to apologize that I probably don't have much more insightful to say than, dude, that's a jam. But I love,
reason.
you know, I loved the Elevators always, and Rocky is great. But that song, I just love that song, and that there have been a couple versions done over the years, but that early single version, you know, it's just it's a rocker.
It was. It should have been a bigger hit. So he was the lead singer of a psychedelic Texas band, and they achieved, I guess you would call it cult popularity, right? The 13th Floor Elevators.
They had a
They had a
genuine hit,
That's
you know.
right. That's right.
You know, so they and I think they story goes that they are credited with coining the term psychedelic.
I think that's
music.
right. I think, and you know, the people that influenced, that cite them as an influence, it's kind of surprising. ZZ Top, you know, they're Texas, and they were influenced by them. Robert
Well,
Plant.
the movie Sidewalks, they were contemporaries.
That's right.
The 13th
That's
Floor
right.
Elevators, sure.
That's right. That's their. That's exactly right. And then like these current guys like Ty Segall and those kind of guys cite them as an influence. So from the days of Atari, AC/DC, and Apollo 13, this is 70s Unheard. I want to take a quick minute to pass along best wishes to a listener, James from Illinois. I hear from James every week, and I've quoted his comments on the show. Had plans for him to join me on an upcoming show, but James is dealing with some health challenges, and he reached out to let me know. So James, we're pulling for you, and we're hoping for a speedy recovery. Please keep us posted, and I'm holding a space for you here to join me soon, my friend. All right, Cain, our next band is one I read about as being one of the great forgotten 70 artists, and I've had their song saved. I was planning to play one, but you beat me to it. So tell me why you chose the Groundhogs.
I mean, you know, I haven't spent a whole lot of time with the Groundhogs. I've got a couple of their records, but the song we're going to hear, Cherry Red,
right?
Ooh, that riff.
It is.
And I mean, it's smoking. But yeah, I mean, it's just, that is, That works for me every time. Just a tight groove, man. You just lock in with the drums, the bass, you know, and some, you know, take off into the stratosphere, the guitar solos. I mean, that's
they rank right there with those British rock bands of that era. So they sold a lot of records in the UK in the early 70s. They supported the Rolling Stones on their 71 British tour, and they later filled those same venues as headliners. But lead singer Tony McPhee, he said that the highlight of his career was the time he spent in the 60s opening and playing with John Lee Hooker. So while they produced 3 top 10 albums in the UK, their highest charting U.S. album stalled at number 202. I didn't know if you knew that. From their 1971 album Split, these are the Groundhogs and Cherry Red.
somebody else comes along. When you're nobody, till somebody else sings your song. I know you, and you got some place to belong. Known you were coming out of a new song long ago, some place to belong. you were coming, I'd written this song long ago. You think you're such a hero for doing your act so well, and yet don't you know deep inside you're doing your act without a net.
From the 1973 album Sunforest, that was former member of the Florida-based psychedelic group Pearls Before Swine, Tom Rapp, and Someplace to Belong. Cain, I know I've heard of Pearls Before Swine, but can't remember from where, but I did like this song, so tell me why this choice.
The main reason this one popped up on there was because I had just randomly pulled the record. It was the record was sitting on the stack in the living room.
I like it.
So
happy accident.
Yeah, and sounded good. Put it, it's 70s, so we'll put it on the list.
It's a good choice. Well, what I like about this guy is later in his life he became a civil rights attorney. He attended law school at Penn, graduating in '84, and practiced as a civil rights attorney in Philly until 2001, when he moved back to Florida. Died in 2018 at his home in Melbourne, Florida. And you're listening to 70s Unheard on Radio KCM with staff member Cain Blanchard. And Cain, often when I'm here, I'll pass behind your desk and look back there. And it's a standing desk, by the way. Pretty impressive. You're always standing.
It's too much sitting. So I gotta mix it up some. I'm getting too old to sit all day.
I understand. But I see some cool videos of older videos of local performers and things from the past. Really cool stuff. So tell me what you do. Tell me about your work here at Radio KCM.
Well, I'm a production coordinator here, so right. I do a little bit of filming, some editing,
right,
and then kind of as you were saying, I help with producers who come in,
right,
a little more on the video side than the radio side.
Right.
So so we are a public access TV station. So people come in and do their own programming, and so we kind of help with offer technical assistance.
When I think of public access in the past, I thought of quirky guys that came in. And you still get some of that here?
Sure.
I need to watch it more and find more of that stuff. So do you have some real fun stuff that comes in?
Yeah. So again, this is an open platform for people to come in and do whatever the heck they want. So
play old 70s music.
Yeah.
Right? All right. I like this next one, Cain. I hear some Velvet Underground. I hear some Stooges, maybe some MC5. Not a band I knew, but tell me about this Canadian band, Simply Saucer.
Yeah, this is kind of the years, probably mid 70s.
Right.
Really, and I think there are a couple bands that are going to pop up, that really kind of sort of existed between two eras,
Right.
So this is,
right.
This is kind of pre-punk rock, but there's certainly kind of looking towards that on the horizon, and got some synthesizers in there and kind of a sci-fi.
I hear
proto-punk
garage
sound.
Exactly. I hear that
Yeah,
some garage rock too in these guys.
And Canadian band. I think I believe a young Daniel Lanois recorded some of the stuff with them.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think that they were kind of one of these bands. I think they were kind of a local kind of came and went, and I think they kind of those recordings resurfaced more in later years, and kind
Very
of
cool.
So
All right, we'll play it from the 1975 album Cyborgs Revisited. This is an album named one of the greatest Canadian albums of all time. This was called Dance the Mutation.
Came round, see me here. You're just in time for some TV. Was a girl like mercy unusual. Well, baby, they call me Mr. Ecstasy. Bitch, I'm so vacant. Such a shame your brain's got your back on. Nothing in it. Makes me so sick, but I still love you.
usually just below the gate. It has to be much louder to be heard. All gates open. All gates are open now. Songs, music, sometimes it is hard to say where the sounds come from, especially when there are so many around. The breathing sound just doesn't usually reach the gate. It has to be much louder to be heard. There were days when we couldn't say where the kids come from. By the time we realized we began to play, all gates are open now. Now we see how the music blended with the sounds we played. All gates are open now.
Mixing early electronica with harmonica, not a combination you hear every day. That's the band Cain from their 1978 album known as Inner Space. That was All Gates Open. Another of those bands I was not aware. Actually, I did. I had read about them and planned to play them, but there again, you beat me to it. So tell me why you love the krautrock.
Well, Cain, one of my all-time favorites. So
They are
I had to
good.
get some Cain in there. And so that album, I think, that's a later album. Most people will tell you past their prime.
Right.
I thought
it
and
sounded
it's
great.
hard. Look, it's hard to argue with the classics. The classics are the classics, but some people are a little more dismissive of some of those later albums. But I like them. That song, great bass line, great
Yeah.
drum groove. You know,
Kind
I
of had a
think,
little dub sound.
yeah.
to me in
I mean,
that
they were
bass.
bringing all sorts of world music and really cutting edge studio technology into those albums. So I love them.
Sounded good, man. I loved it. All right, from the days when you signaled your concert approval with a real lighter flame, not a phone light. This is 70s Unheard. So, Cain, tell me about your musical pursuit. Yours, Bare Trees.
Oh, Bare Trees. That's a project I'm doing with a friend of mine now, and it is we've been good friends for decades and have played in bands, but we're getting old. Our road days are probably behind us, so it is. It is mainly an opportunity for us to find some time to get together and make a little noise.
I like it. And you were playing some music last night with some other friends, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
That was we'll see what comes of that. That was going back to my youth.
So you have a history in Cookeville, right?
I spent after high school, I spent a few years in Cookeville. I went there for college, and
Gotcha.
So I was there for about 5 years, but a very formative 5 years.
Well, send some of that to me. We'll squeeze it in. We'll pretend it's from the 70s sometime.
Well, there was certainly nods to the 70s and some of that stuff. So,
All right, so I was intrigued by your next choice, this band. Here's what I found. They were named Yahowah 13. Sometimes the 13 wasn't present.
Variations on the name there over the years.
And I have them in the background. They were a psychedelic band. They were fronted by a gentleman named Father Yod. He was their spiritual leader of a Los Angeles-based religious commune called the Source Family. Yeah. And so tell me about what it is about
some
these guys.
some real old California hippies. I think they ran a vegetarian restaurant. Having orgies in the hills, making, jamming in the basement. Yeah, but
I like it.
Yeah, some classic. They put out. They were making their own private press records and
wow. You can hear it. You can tell. All right, we'll jump in. This is from the album Savage Sons of Yahowah. This is a song from Yahowah 13. It's called Fire in the Sky.
Fire in the sky. Well, rising. Ups and shaking. On the ground. Good God. A dragon uprising. And not a night left to die. To be found. Vampire black sky above. From the blue horizon. Werewolf stalking. For they pray. Good God. Bad moon is rising. Don't pass no mistakes my way. Not today. I'll be your shining knight in armor. With his cousin land. Bear, the monster. From the sea. Look out. Lightning. Yeah. In my hand. Things are worse than they may seem. Let's try my little scheme. Yeah, dream. Some other dream. Ow, fire in the sky. Ow, fire in the sky.
From their 1973 album Second, that was a quick instrumental from German experimental krautrock band, another krautrock band, Agitation Free, and Layla Part 1. So what do we need to know about Agitation Free, Cain?
Well, they were a short-lived band. I think they really only did those two records, but
Right.
kind of German, psychedelic progressive rock,
good.
so I, always a big fan of the progressive rock.
What surprised me about them, they're still playing. And
okay.
they're still doing shows in Germany. So they were good. I like them a lot.
Yeah, so I think they were probably most known for, a couple of those guys went on. They were in Tangerine Dream later
Right.
on. Chris Frank was in Tangerine Dream. And,
Gotcha. Remember those guys. So that's more 80s, right? All right. From the days when the entire family traveled, windows down and seatbelt free. This is 70s Unheard. Now, this one stood out to me, Cain. It starts with this rigid, repetitive driving beat and bass with vocals arriving in what, to me, appears to be a different key, finishing with a full-blown hard bop sax solo. I would call it avant-garde. So tell me about the Walker Brothers. I did not know them.
Well, the Walker Brothers, that's an interesting story there. They, American guys,
Right.
most of their career happened in the UK,
Right.
where they were kind of a Baroque pop, teeny bopper pop band.
Really?
Kind of
Don't
almost,
hear that.
so they were kind of teen idols and a very kind of Baroque, you
Really?
think like early Bee Gees kind of stuff.
Wow.
Scott Walker was probably the most prominent member of that band who had a long solo career, and his early solo albums kind of continued in some of that literary Baroque pop. But
I
he
remember
kind
that
of
name.
he
Yeah.
branched out and made some moved in a more experimental direction, which I think you start to hear on this last. I think it's this last Walker Brothers record. You start to
Got
hear
it.
some of the directions Scott Walker explored later in his solo career.
I love it. All right, we'll start it. From the 1978 album Night Flights, this is the Walker Brothers and Fat Mama Kick.
Locked in right-angle rooms. Watch their lovers sleep face down in the yellow light. Keep a balance on that curve till the war with the night is over. The gods are gone, the air is thick. You cannot risk the fat mama kick. Armed angels in the city lights wait inside the master corpses, feel wrong betrayed and fade as the noise goes over and over. The gods are gone, the searchlight's lit. You cannot risk the fat mama kick.
British drummer, actor, and singer-songwriter John Adler, who performs under the name Twink from the 1970 album Think Pink and Tiptoe on the Highest Hill. Cain, tell me about Twink.
Oh, more psychedelic music.
Yeah.
So that's I'm showing my cards here. That's a real real soft spot for me. But love that solo record. It's got that early Floyd kind of space rock.
It does. Especially that finish.
Yeah, some taking off to the stratosphere, ripping guitar solo, drums sound great.
That's the stuff that sounds great on old original vinyl. That's one I'll keep an eye out for.
Pink. Track that one down, and it's a jam.
Twink also performed with multiple bands we were just talking about. Bands that included Syd Barrett of Pink Floyd and Steve Howe of Yes. So I did not know anything about him, but that's
it was his coming to fame. He was a drummer for the Pink Fairies for
That's
for
right.
a long
That's
time.
right. You told me that. All right, from the days of the Saved concert ticket stub. This is 70s Unheard. Up next, Peter Green, the founder and original leader and original guitarist of Fleetwood Mac. This is from his first solo album. So tell me about this choice, Cain.
This one, I think this one was actually a single.
Was it?
And I love his first solo record. It's kind of a free-form, kind of jazzy, instrumental jams. And I pulled this one up online, and I just for the time being a factor, we just went with the shorter song. But this it's great. That early Peter Green, he's that stuff is his late run with Fleetwood Mac, just how quickly
Those were
they,
good albums.
from the transition from like kind of straight up blues to something, like really uniquely, it was kind of a little bit progressive, a little bit psychedelic, it was really taken off to.
That's the name of your band, right?
Bare Trees.
Exactly.
We're named after the Fleetwood Mac record.
I love it. All right, we'll jump in. This is Peter Green. There it is. This was called Beasts of Burden.
Creatures die, vultures fly, songbirds sing, hyenas laugh, aging horses who gave all they had to give. Beasts of burden who work for the right to live. These creatures live not wanting more in nature's paradise, but the shape of man meant certain death, his mind confused with lies. No true home has he, slaves of this society. Hiding all fear, pretending he doesn't see. Feelings he hides while other beings die. The poisoned air he breathes, 'cause his heart is lost to a false teacher's game, insisting that he believes. A child of the truth, polluted by lying words. Too young to choose, life's mind he is forced to lose. Castrated horses and chickens and cows are held to suit demands. Their time will be used, their lives abused by the pleasure-seeking man. And true men must go to make room for the madman's home. Your village is burned, bad food you must work to earn. For man's mistakes, all creatures must die. He thinks he is the chosen one. Their innocent lives are tortured or killed by the fool who needed a gun. But the animals know the devil his face has shown. Too late to turn back, the sickness is overgrown.
From the 1975 album Warrior on the Edge of Time. That was the English space rock band Hawkwind and the cut Opa Loca. And Cain, I could have gone a whole lot longer with that one, but I want to get your other choices.
Yeah.
So tell me about the Hawkwind.
Well, where so many bands, the misstep is too many chords, too many parts. One chord, and just you can go all night.
You find a good sound and you stick with it.
I do groove.
I was telling Cain,
Head for the stars.
when I heard something like that, like in high school, it was mind blowing to hear, that space rock like that. I really like that sound. All right, Cain. So they have a vast discography. The other thing, I read about them last night. They have 37 studio albums, and they're still out there going. They had an album out, a new album in 2025. But you told me a lot of change in the band.
Yeah, well, they're an institution at this point, so who knows who's playing in Hawkwind these days. I've not kept up with what they're up to these days, but that classic run, that mid-'70s run, can't beat it.
That's good stuff. And you're listening to 70s Unheard with my guest, Cain Blanchard. Cain, I'd call this next band industrial, which was a musical style I was not aware of in the 70s. So tell me about Chrome.
Well, they are, we kind of touched on this before, sometimes the records that are the most interesting are, looking back, are these kind of sort of neither fish nor fowl bands that kind of fall between kind of shifting paradigms. And, so this is kind of pre-punk rock.
It is.
Pre-kind of industrial is kind of a sci-fi alien rock, electronic something or another. They are, Chrome, they are, especially these early 70s Chrome records. I mean, they're kind of in a league of their own.
I like them. I like them. From the 1979 album, Half Machine Lip Moves. This is the San Francisco band Chrome, considered an early industrial music innovator. This is You've Been Duplicated. On 70s Unheard, and that does it for this episode. Thanks for joining me, Cain.
Well, Jeff, thanks so much. This was so much fun.
I hope so. I loved hearing what you like, and we haven't talked about it that much, but it was great to learn the stuff that turns you on. So you can catch me every Wednesday at 11 here on Radio KCM. To leave comments, make requests, and listen to this and all past episodes, you can find me on YouTube. Just search 70s Unheard on YouTube. So thanks for joining me again, Cain. I really appreciate it. So tell me, before we go, about the band This Heat.
Oh, well, we don't have time to even scratch the surface on This Heat, but absolutely totally unique. And when I heard this record, absolutely blew my mind. So
I can see what you mean. Yeah. So you're going to like this one. We're only going to get a few seconds of it, but until next time, from their 1979 self-titled album, we'll close with This Heat and Twilight Furniture.